Hi, I'm Sawyer, 32 years old, mother of a beautiful 5-year-old named Emma, wife to Mark, and owner of a perpetually messy living room. I never expected my life would include strategic battle plans against my own mother-in-law. But here we are. Emma, sweetheart, remember what we talked about with the juice? Sitting at the table, right? I gently reminded my daughter as she carried her cup of apple juice toward the couch. But Grandma Linda lets me drink anywhere, Emma protested, her tiny fingers gripping the plastic cup. I sighed, counting to 3 in my head. I know, but in our house, drinks stay at the table. It's our family rule. The front door opened before Emma could respond, and my mother-in-law's voice filled the room. "There's my little princess," Linda exclaimed, setting down several shopping bags. "I brought you some surprises." "Grandma!" Emma abandoned her juice on the coffee table and ran to Linda. I moved quickly to retrieve the cup. "Linda, we just talked about not bringing gifts every visit, remember?" Linda waved dismissively while pulling out a bright pink stuffed unicorn. "Oh, Sawyer, don't be so rigid. Grandmothers are supposed to spoil their grandchildren." "Yes, but Mark never had issues with a little spoiling, did you, honey?" Linda called to my husband, who had just entered from the garage. Mark's eyes darted between us. "Mom, maybe ease up on the gifts. We're trying to teach Emma about earning things and appreciating what she has." Linda's smile tightened. "I raised you just fine, and you turned out perfectly well. I think I know a thing or two about children." "It's not about knowing about children in general, Linda. It's about respecting how we want to raise our specific child," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "You young parents overthink everything these days," Linda said with a dismissive laugh. "In my day, we didn't have all these rules and restrictions." Later that evening, after Linda left and Emma went to bed, I confronted Mark in our bedroom. "Your mother completely undermines our parenting, Mark. This can't continue." He sighed, sitting heavily on the edge of our bed. "She means well, Sawyer." "Meaning well doesn't excuse the behavior," I replied, folding laundry with more force than necessary. "She ignores every boundary we set. The constant gifts, the sugar before dinner, letting Emma do whatever she wants." "That's just how my mom shows love," Mark defended. "No, that's how she establishes control," I countered. "And you never back me up in the moment." Mark ran his hand through his hair. "What do you want me to do? She's my mother. And I'm your wife and Emma's mother. Our rules for our daughter should come first." The next morning, I called my best friend Jen during my drive to work. "She did it again," I said without preamble. 3 new toys and a bag of candy after we explicitly asked her to stop. "Linda, the boundary bulldozer strikes again," Jen replied. "What did Mark do?" "The usual dance, mild protest, then silent surrender." "You know this isn't going to change unless something forces it to," Jen said carefully. "Linda's been getting away with this behavior for decades." "I know," I admitted, "but something's got to give. I can feel it coming." I had no idea how right I was, or how soon the breaking point would arrive. "Are you absolutely sure?" I asked Linda for the 3rd time, my hands gripping my phone tightly. "Emma's allergies are no joke." "Sawyer, for heaven's sake!" Linda's exasperated voice came through the speaker. "I've watched children before. I think I can handle one afternoon with my granddaughter without an incident." Mark touched my shoulder reassuringly. "Mom knows about the nut allergy, honey. She'll be careful." "No nuts of any kind," I repeated firmly. "And her EpiPen is in the front pocket of her backpack. If there's any reaction at all—" Yes, Linda interrupted. "Call 911, use the EpiPen, call you immediately. I've got it. We're just going to bake cookies and watch movies." "What kind of cookies?" I pressed. Linda sighed loudly. "Sugar cookies. Happy? Just simple sugar cookies with frosting." 3 hours later, my classroom phone rang. Seeing the school office number, I answered quickly. "Mrs. Collins? It's the front office. Your mother-in-law is here with your daughter Emma. She seems to be having an allergic reaction." My heart stopped. "I'm coming right now." I rushed to the office to find Emma's face slightly puffy, with hives forming on her neck. Linda stood beside her, looking annoyed rather than concerned. What happened? I demanded, kneeling to examine Emma. It's nothing serious, Linda dismissed. Just a tiny reaction. I gave her some Benadryl. What did she eat? I pulled the EpiPen from Emma's backpack. We made peanut butter cookies, Linda said defensively. She's had peanut butter before. No, she hasn't, I nearly shouted. She's allergic to all nuts. We've told you this repeatedly. Well, Mark said she had a peanut butter sandwich last month. He absolutely did not. I cut her off, administering the EpiPen as Emma's breathing became slightly labored. We need to get her to the hospital now. In the car, Emma whimpered softly from her booster seat. Mommy, my throat feels funny. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I know, baby. The medicine will help soon. Linda sat in the passenger seat, uncharacteristically quiet. I really didn't think. Not now. I cut her off, eyes locked on the road. At the emergency room, the medical team moved with practiced efficiency. A nurse checked Emma's vitals while a doctor examined her throat. Good thing you used the EpiPen, the doctor said, nodding approvingly, and brought her in right away. With food allergies, it's always better to be cautious. See? Linda whispered to me. They said it's fine. The doctor overheard. Actually, ma'am, anaphylaxis can progress rapidly. Without the EpiPen, this could have become life-threatening very quickly. Linda's face paled. While Emma slept peacefully after treatment, I stepped into the hallway to call Jen. She gave Emma peanut butter cookies, I said, my voice shaking with rage and leftover fear. After we told her repeatedly about the allergy. Oh my God, Jen gasped. Is Emma okay? She will be. The reaction was moderate, not severe, thank goodness. I leaned against the wall. Jen, Linda tried to blame Mark, claimed he said Emma had eaten peanut butter before. That's gaslighting, Sawyer, Jen said firmly. She messed up and tried to make you think you were crazy. Mark's talking to her now. I watched through the window as my husband spoke with his mother, his posture uncharacteristically rigid. This is it, Sawyer. This is where you draw the hard line. I know, I replied. This can never, ever happen again. 3 days after Emma's allergic reaction, I invited Linda to our home for a conversation. Mark sat beside me at the kitchen table, presenting a united front for perhaps the first time in our marriage. Linda arrived, looking put upon. I don't see why this meeting was necessary. Emma's fine, isn't she? Children get over these things quickly. Sit down, Mom, Mark said firmly. Linda's eyebrows rose at his tone, but she took a seat across from us. What happened was not a minor incident, I began, keeping my voice steady. Emma could have died. That's extremely dramatic, Linda scoffed. It was a small reaction. This time, I countered. Food allergies can worsen with each exposure. The next reaction could be anaphylactic. I've raised children. Stop. Mark's palm hit the table. Mom, you endangered Emma. This isn't about your experience or your feelings. This is about Emma's safety. Linda's mouth opened and closed. I made a simple mistake. Anyone could have forgotten. This wasn't forgetting, I said. We reminded you multiple times that very day. You chose to ignore us because you believe you know better. That's ridiculous. I would never purposely harm— Not purposely, Mark interrupted. But you didn't take her allergies seriously because you don't take our parenting seriously. How can you say that? Linda's voice cracked. After all I've done for you, for this family. This isn't about what you've done in the past, Mark replied. It's about what happened 3 days ago, and about an ongoing pattern of disregarding our wishes. What pattern? Name one other time. The juice on the couch, I interjected. That's hardly— The candy before dinner, Mark added. Children need treats. The toys after we specifically asked you not to bring more, I continued. Linda's face reddened. After everything I've done for this family? I'm her grandmother. Yes, you are, I agreed. Which is why we need to establish clear boundaries going forward. Boundaries? Linda repeated, as if I'd suggested something obscene. You will not have unsupervised time with Emma until you demonstrate you can respect our parenting decisions, I stated. That's absurd. Mark, are you going to let her keep me from my granddaughter? Mark didn't flinch. This isn't Sawyer's decision. It's ours. Together. We're not keeping Emma from you, I clarified. We're ensuring her safety while with you. That means one of us will be present during visits for the foreseeable future. I refuse to be treated like a child. Linda stood abruptly. I made one mistake. A potentially fatal mistake, Mark reminded her quietly. And it's part of a pattern, Mom. You consistently undermine our parenting. Because she's too strict, Linda pointed at me. Children need freedom. Children need consistent rules and safety, I countered. And parents need to be respected in their decisions. Linda grabbed her purse. I won't sit here and be lectured. When you come to your senses, call me. Mom, Mark stood. If you walk out now, you're only proving our point. You're putting your pride above Emma's well-being. I have never in my life been so insulted, Linda declared, hand on the doorknob. You'll regret treating me this way. After she left, the house fell silent. You were amazing, I told Mark, squeezing his hand. I should have done that years ago, he admitted. I'm so sorry, Sawyer. For what? I asked, exhaustion suddenly washing over me. For letting this go on so long, for not seeing what was happening. He wrapped his arms around me. All those times I told you to just let it go, that she meant well. You were caught in the middle, I said, leaning into him. No, he said firmly. There is no middle here. Our daughter's safety isn't negotiable. Do you think she'll come around? I asked. Mark sighed. I hope so. But even if she doesn't, we're doing the right thing. 2 weeks passed without a word from Linda. Emma asked about her grandmother daily, and we explained in simple terms that Grandma needed time to think about following family rules. Like when I have a timeout? Emma had asked. Something like that, Mark had answered with a sad smile. I was grading papers at the dining table when the doorbell rang. Opening the door revealed Linda, looking uncharacteristically subdued. May I come in? She asked stiffly. I stepped aside. Mark's picking Emma up from ballet. They'll be home in about 30 minutes. Linda nodded, sitting rigidly on the edge of our couch. I've been doing some thinking. Oh? I sat across from her, maintaining my distance. I spoke with my friend Diane. Her son's wife limited her contact with their children a few years ago. Linda's fingers twisted in her lap. She said something that stuck with me. Grandparenting is a privilege, not a right. I remained silent, waiting. I don't agree with all your rules, she continued. I think some of them are unnecessary, but... She took a deep breath. Emma is your daughter, not mine. That's right, I agreed quietly. I've written down all her allergies. Linda pulled out a small notebook. And I've removed all nut products from my house. I took an online course about anaphylaxis and emergency response. This surprised me. That's very thorough, Linda. I don't want to lose my relationship with Emma. Or with Mark. Her voice wavered. Or with you, Sawyer. We never wanted that either, I assured her. We just need to know Emma is safe with you and that you respect our decisions even when you disagree. I'm trying, she admitted. It's not easy to change at my age. The front door opened and Emma ran in, spotting her grandmother immediately. Grandma, you're back from your thinking time, she exclaimed, stopping short of jumping into Linda's lap. Did you learn about following rules? Linda's eyes met mine, then shifted to Mark, who had entered behind Emma. Yes, sweetheart, Linda answered. I'm learning that different houses have different rules, and I need to respect Mommy and Daddy's rules for you, even at my house. That's what I have to do at preschool, Emma nodded seriously. Even when I don't wanna. It's hard sometimes, isn't it? Linda said, with a newfound understanding. Uh-huh, Emma agreed. But Miss Patty says rules keep us safe and happy. Later that evening, after Emma was in bed, the three adults sat at the kitchen table. I'd like to try again, Linda said. Perhaps supervised visits at first, as you suggested. Mark reached for her hand. That sounds reasonable, Mom. I need to ask you something, Linda said, looking directly at me. And I want an honest answer. I nodded cautiously. Did you ever worry that I was deliberately trying to undermine you? That I wanted to, I don't know, turn Emma against you somehow? The question caught me off guard. I never thought it was deliberate in that way, I answered honestly. I thought you were just used to being in charge, to making the decisions. I think you genuinely believe your way is best. Linda nodded slowly. I did. I do sometimes. But I've been thinking a lot about why I feel so compelled to override your rules. She paused. I think part of me was afraid of becoming irrelevant, of Emma loving me less if I wasn't the fun grandma who let her do whatever she wanted. That's not how children measure love, Mark said gently. I know that intellectually, Linda replied. But emotionally, it's harder to accept. And maybe, I added carefully, you could join us for a few of Emma's allergy appointments. It might help to hear the information directly from her doctor. Linda nodded. I'd like that. As she prepared to leave, Linda paused at the door. I do love her, more than anything. We know, I said. That was never in question. After she left, Mark pulled me into a hug. Think this will stick? Time will tell, I replied. But it's a start. 1 month later, we gathered at the park for Emma's 6th birthday. Linda arrived early to help set up, carrying a modest gift bag. I checked with you first, she reminded me with a small smile, nodding toward the bag. I appreciate that, I said sincerely. As children arrived and the party swirled into chaotic activity, I noticed Linda standing near the food table, carefully checking labels on snacks before offering them to Emma's friends. Everything okay? I asked, approaching her. Just double-checking for allergens, she explained. Not just nuts for Emma, but I asked some of the other mothers about their children's allergies too. Later, as Emma opened presents, Linda sat beside Mark, whispering something that made him laugh. When Emma unwrapped her grandmother's gift, a single book about a girl who becomes a scientist, she hugged Linda tightly. It's not as exciting as a unicorn, Linda told me as we cleaned up afterward. But you mentioned she's been interested in science lately. It's perfect, I assured her. And it means a lot that you noticed her interest. I'm trying to see her, not just my idea of what a granddaughter should be, Linda said. It's a work in progress. The next day, I met Jen for coffee. So, no more boundary bulldozer? She asked. More like boundary bulldozer with a learner's permit, I laughed. She's trying, which is more than before. And Mark? Standing firm, finally seeing the patterns. I stirred my coffee thoughtfully. I never wanted Emma to have less of a relationship with her grandmother. I just wanted a relationship based on respect. Sometimes, Jen observed, the healthiest love has the strongest boundaries. I thought about the long road ahead, the inevitable slips, the difficult conversations still to come, the ongoing work of maintaining boundaries with someone who'd spent a lifetime without them. But for the first time, I felt hopeful that we could build something better, something that would ultimately strengthen rather than fracture our family. The boundaries we draw, I told Jen, are only as meaningful as our willingness to maintain them. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with family members? The hardest conversations are often the most necessary ones for protecting those we love.